We get asked on a pretty regular basis how we're going to get these window coverings in the windows. It's one of the most difficult things in custom window coverings that really people come to us looking for at One Stop Decorating. We are trained to look at the windows and understand first what window covering is going to fit in the window and where it's going to fit before we help you narrow the styles based on your function in your decor, because you can pick out the perfect window covering and you think it looks absolutely beautiful, but if it doesn't fit the window correctly, you're not going to be happy with the overall look. So we really need to determine where we're going to put that first. We do a couple of different styles, usually three. One is an inside mount, and that's where we go inside the window that has plenty of depth and we can mount the window covering inside the window confines, meaning your trim or your wall is showing all the way around your window covering. The benefit to this is that you can get the window covering back in the window and we can offer you a nice tailored custom look because it's made exactly for that size window. Now the drawback to this is that if you go inside of a window, you're going to expose light on the edges. Light will come in around it because the shade has to operate within the window. It has to tilt and it has to raise and lower, and to that end it can't rub on the edges of the window, so every window covering manufacturer is going to reduce the size of the shade to fit within the opening. Most of those deductions are anywhere between 1/8 of an inch and 1.5 inches. So we really need to understand what your expectations are for fitting the blind inside the window and your expectations of the overall finished look before we can determine whether an inside mount is the right mount for you. The second type of mounting we do is an outside mount, and that's in mounting it on the outside of your trim. This type of mounting provides us the most forgiveness and the most flexibility in how we want to mount your shades, your blinds, your shutters, or even your draperies. We want to make sure that if light coming in around the edges is an issue, we make the shade wide enough to cover up as much of that gap as possible. If we want to lengthen your windows in something that stacks, we can mount it 5, 6, 7, 8 inches above your trim so that we can actually make your window look taller and that stack at the top doesn't cover any of your glass space. There are certain situations where a Roman shade is a perfect example of this. You may have a house with standard 8-foot ceilings and you really want your windows to look tall. We can mount that Roman shade about 20% of the length of the window above the window, and the shade will stack up and not cover any of your glass space, making your window look taller. Now, of course, we want to pair that with a room darkening fabric so that we make sure the light coming through the bottom part of the shade doesn't look different than the wall behind the top part of the shade. Outside mounts work great for shutters, they work great for draperies, they work great for roller shades because roller shades are notorious for having large gaps on the edge. So oftentimes we'll recommend that, especially for a roller shade style. The third type of mounting that we suggest is a hybrid between the two, and that's called an inside-outside mount. A lot of people have beautiful, elaborate trim around their windows that might be 3.5 to even 8 inches around them, and an inside mount sometimes looks too small in those because the trim is disproportionate to the window size. And an outside mount we don't want to do because it covers that beautiful trim that you may have paid a lot of money to refinish or have put in. So we do what's called an inside-outside mount, and what we do is we select a flat space on that trim towards the inside of the trim so that it is kind of an outside mount. It doesn't fit back within the confines of the window, but it also doesn't cover up the majority of your trim either. This helps us minimize the light gaps around the edge, maximize the exposure of your beautiful trim around it, and give you the look of a custom tailored shade that is measured and installed exactly in your window that doesn't look like a ready-made product off of the shelves. Our consultants can come out and give you specific measurements and help you understand which of these three mounting methods works the best for you, and then pair that with the ideal shade that fits your form, function, and style to make sure we have the best combination of these to produce the very best outcome in design.